motherfuckers right here. Yes, these motherfuckers right here. Fuck 'em. We don't want to talk about them. It's getting boring as fuck. These motherfuckers right here. Yes, these motherfuckers right here. Fuck 'em. We don't want to talk about them. It's getting boring as fuck. These motherfuckers right here. Yes, these motherfuckers right here. Fuck 'em. We don't want to talk about them. It's getting boring as fuck.
Those donkey balls are bouncing all around. Bounce up, bounce up. Those donkey balls. Those donkey balls are bouncing all around. Those donkey balls are bouncing all around. Those donkey balls are bouncing all around. Those donkey balls are bouncing, making all praise.
Sniffing, you can smell them. Those donkey balls are yelling, and they're swinging to the beat of a loser's song. Never turn your back, 'cause those donkey balls are bouncing on your dreams. Suck 'em. Those donkey balls are bouncing on your chin again. What a silly, got to grin again and again. Never turn your back, 'cause those donkey balls are bouncing on your dreams. Suck 'em. Those donkey balls are bouncing on your chin again. What a sin, we gotta grin again and again.
He would be so scared to see me.
Everybody thinks we was doing this shit, doxing motherfuckers. Nah, they came at us first.
I got a fire raging in my front yard.
Oh, why did you set your front yard on fire? Are you drinking anything?
Smacking off the podcast. Fuck your teeth, our balls. Because fuck authorities. Smacking off the podcast. Fuck your team, dog balls. You call them sports authorities.
Smacking off the podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show.
What's going on, Bob?
You're looking at it, Doug, all the fun and excitement in the whole world.
There is. I mean, no sports, but we've still got pigs, right?
Oh, we got pigs.
I'm
Pigs.
here.
What's
up,
going
Nick?
on, Nikki?
You said pigs.
No, that's got nothing to do with you, Nikki. Don't let the lipstick fool you. The dude put the lipstick on the pig because he wanted to set the scene correctly.
Was it an homage? Was it an homage to Sarah Palin?
Yes.
Did she say something about a lipstick on a pig?
No, but Obama did. In regard to her.
Wow. I'm just going to say this. I'd fuck Sarah Palin before I fucked Obama.
Oh, no doubt.
What
No
about
doubt.
Michelle?
Michelle?
I'm not fucking no dudes. Sorry, guys.
Ah,
You know, it's been storming pretty hard around here, guys, all day, and like 3 out of the last 5 days. Thankfully, I'm on a rise because I think the whole world's going to float away.
You know what? That's just the gods fucking with you, Bob. What did you do to piss the gods off?
Well, I'm probably a lot, really, if I really get.
you can't even quantify it, can you?
just
I
a
can't
few
even
things.
quantify.
Just a few.
I've been busy, Doug. That's all I got to say. But I've calmed down over the last 10 years or so, or well, maybe a little more than that. But I've calmed down quite a bit because it's necessary. Now, I had a friend the other day. He's still living the candle at both ends, and he's like 4 years older than me. He just had a triple bypass, right? I'm looking at that future, that dystopian future, right? And I'm like, oh my God.
Well, shit, Bob. You just turned everything negative on us, Bob.
No, it's positive because he survived, and he says he's going to smoke even more dope.
And he probably
Yeah.
had hot nurses. So, like, you got to think of the positives.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, he said they were very attentive to him. He's a very understated man, so I wonder what that could have been. You know.
Yeah.
Now, how did a girl?
Let's go ahead and let's go and test the waters here. In the past, I've posted pictures on Facebook of a dude having his way with a pig, and Facebook didn't like it.
Goodness.
So I'm just kind of testing the waters here, and I mean, I just want everybody to know that we do not endorse anybody fucking a pig.
We're not Auburn fans.
I mean, all this dude's doing is singing the pig a song. The pig's got lipstick on. Afterwards, they'll probably go out for a dinner and a movie, and that'll be it. Right?
And they're Auburn fans.
Yes, and I noticed it's only trees behind him and no hills, so that gives me encouragement. You know.
Right.
Auburn.
And the barn back there that says smacking off the podcast on it, that's not our home office.
That's not the home office. That's
It was
right.
it was painted in by a painter. We've never seen this place before.
Never seen it. Well, maybe
It's at
someone
Auburn.
knew we conquered. What's that?
It's at Auburn.
I mean, it probably is in Auburn, yes.
Oh yeah, that's why there's no hills. That's why there's no hills, Doug. It's on the plains of Auburn.
Yeah.
And you
just
said
nailed it, Bob.
barn. Auburn. Come on. It's all Auburn.
All
right, so what's
Without even thinking about it.
What sports is going on, y'all?
Baseball.
Well,
Hockey.
oh yeah, golf. Yeah, there's plenty of like hot stove stuff and plenty of stuff that's been relevant to our ongoing discussion of NIL, so forth. But I was kind of trying to drag things out before we got to that. The new CEO of college football, the new college sports commission, the in the settlement that's already taken place but hasn't been released in regard to the House versus the NCAA. And there's so much to get into that. But it's always important, Doug, to give reverence to our friends over at Auburn and their ability to have animal husbandry, so to speak, and
They
things of
love
that
their
nature.
animals.
Oh yeah, they love their animals, man. And then they can get baptized afterwards. It's almost like being a Catholic, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
one of the things I do like about Catholicism is, and I know in Nicholasville they had a Catholic church, and we'd have like this thing called Jessamine Jamboree, and then they would sell beer. They had kegs galore. Oh, they had a big party going on at the Catholic church, so that's where I hung out, obviously, right? And I hung out, and I knew the guy that run the parish real well and stuff like that. And I said, man, this is the most awesome thing ever. How can y'all party and get down like this? He goes, look, man, we'll just confess tomorrow and it'll be all right.
So let me ask: is there any Catholics here?
No.
Okay. So I'm just going to say this. I'm going to throw it out there.
Oh, yeah, we have one. We have
Who?
one Catholic.
Well, Sean.
Okay. Well, Sean's not
He's
here,
not
so
here right now.
he's not represented. So I'm going to go and throw this out there. And Sean's obviously, if he's still Catholic, he's not one of these. But
No.
Catholicism is one of the biggest causes in the U.S. for atheism.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Just about every atheist you find, if you start digging in, they're formerly a Catholic.
Oh, goodness.
I can see that though.
Oh, I can too, because it's so like bureaucratic. The whole thing, it's like, I mean, you've already got the whole bureaucratic thing going on in government and everything, and you're like, shit.
Mm-hmm.
In the afterlife, you got to fucking deal with this too. And people
Yeah,
are just
no.
the idea.
I'll pass.
See, that's unusual, right? Because and even though I have been around Catholicism as I've worked and lived up north for a significant amount of years, and I know lots of Catholics, and I've even went to the services and checked it all out. Now, you are right about that, Doug. You're absolutely right about that. And that's the church I was raised in is the anti-bureaucratic church, right? The Church of the Old Regular Baptists, they're scraping to get by, and they got 3 or 4 people that run it, but there's nobody really in charge. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then basically
Biblically, I mean, we don't want to do a Bible podcast, but I'll throw this out there real quick. Biblically, they did not want a centralized church. They didn't want a centralized power in the church, because they said even the apostles back in the day, they were like, if the power structure goes bad, then they all go bad. So they wanted the churches to be independent of each other.
And I think it's an important segue there, Doug, to what's going on in the world of college football.
Absolutely.
Where people wanted autonomy and they wanted their individual institutions and conferences to basically do whatever they want. And yet there's going to be some kind of regulation, some kind of structure, and some kind of czar or boss over all this. And there's a lot more to be defined. And that's why here in the off season, there's so much to talk about college football, because the people that follow it, and I know our fans are also huge college football fans that's followed this for a significant, even since the 90s, have seen amazing changes in college football. And the changes coming down the pike even are probably more extreme.
I agree.
I think you could also say college sports in general, not just football. We're seeing it across the board.
Absolutely.
Football just being the bullseye right now with everything that's going on. Of course, because of the money, they spend a lot more money on football than anything else. But we're seeing it in basketball, baseball, and it's changed not since the 90s. It's changing every year. Like every single year, it's something new.
I think there's a lot of focus on college basketball that people aren't seeing, though, in terms of how money is spent, is that universities realize that they can get so much out of that season because there's so many games that if they do pay the money to get their team in the NCAA tournament, that they're getting what they want of their NIL money. So, for example, you could pay 2 guys ignorant NIL money and then pay everybody else decent NIL money and get your team in the tournament. And then now the shooting war becomes how many guys can you afford to pay top-notch money, and how much does it mean to you to get to the Final Four, the Elite Eight? And then you got to actually be able to play, right? So spending money isn't enough, as we've seen. Ohio State in football. Ohio State spent $20 million, but didn't Texas as well?
I
So
think I think Ohio State spent like 2 million more than Texas. Not it wasn't anything to write home about. But yeah, they spent the most in college football, but Texas was right there with I mean almost the same exact amount.
yeah, no. And as far as college basketball goes, if you spent $20 million with college basketball, you basically have a team you could keep together for almost probably 2 years, and you could go straight to the. You're definitely going to the tournament, and that's when the money starts to even out for programs. Is when you got a tournament program. So if you're a mid-major school or a small school, and you make the tournament, that's great, and it's a nice little boost to your short term. But you can't guarantee you're going to do that, and you're not getting much conference money. Whereas if you're already getting significant conference money, and you are also an elite squad that can make the top levels of the NCAA tournament, then maybe spending that money is worth it in a cost benefit analysis. So I believe that's going to happen, and I think it's kind of telling of what the results were last year as far as what major programs committed and how they committed to NIL. For example, North Carolina, versus teams that did commit to. Obviously, Duke committed to NIL. I don't think Cooper Flagg signed to Duke for nothing.
The new Mav Cooper Flag.
Oh yeah, ain't that great? Ain't that killer?
Uh-huh.
How
I
karma
can't wait.
is. You know
I
what I'm
can't
saying?
I can't wait. But listen, you know what I think crazy. So during basketball season, especially at the end, we don't have football going on, and everyone is all about college basketball. Well, then you have Tennessee that just threw, I think it was like 4 or 5 million at a player in basketball for this upcoming season. Now their fans are pissed, but you wouldn't give Nico that. Why aren't you giving our football players that?
Well, that's because Nico.
I don't think fans are ever going to be happy. Like for
Oh,
me, I don't care if you're going to throw the money, get me a good player. I want a championship, and I don't care what sport it is. Be able to do it in both. But why would you throw that money at Nico when he hadn't proved anything?
I agree with you, Nikki. That's what they're getting wrong of it. Even though college football seems to be more than basketball at Tennessee, they've thrown significant resources at college basketball, and they've done very well. And
Yeah.
if you look at the success of a team in a conference throughout college sports, the fact that Tennessee had great showings of both college basketball and college football is huge, right?
And
So you
baseball.
and baseball. So you've got to finance that, and you got to keep that rolling. And I know they're getting huge rewards out of it. Look at the massive amount of Tennessee fans we see in all the different groups and stuff that people
Hmm.
belong to. I mean, they're reaping great rewards. And Nico, like you're saying, to your point, Nico didn't demonstrate an ability to elevate the team, which at the quarterback position makes him just like any other player. Whereas
Yeah.
one guy on a college basketball team can take it to the next level. Larry Bird took Indiana State, which is tiny. I don't know if any of y'all. I've been by Indiana State University many times. Right, it looked like my high school. Okay, and he took them to the Final Four against Magic Johnson. I mean, my God, the national championship game. Right, so that's how much one player can change a program in college basketball.
And then you get these teams that get lucky and they get more than one and they're stacked. And you know they're going to take it to the house or go pretty far.
So y'all fill me in. Have not been paying attention. Who's throwing money at Nico?
Well, no one
Not
threw money
Tennessee.
at him, including UCLA. They didn't, but they're the fans after
So
Tennessee
is Nico
threw
still
money.
at Tennessee?
No, he's with UCLA with his brother now.
Oh, okay.
Doug, the
I
fans
mean,
are
that
saying,
could be why he went over, though, right?
Hmm.
I mean, it could just be he wanted to be with his brother.
Well, he went before his brother, but that's where the lawsuits are now coming in because Arkansas wants to sue him because of the NIL money. and dipping out on whatever contract they had or whatever.
So why is
deal they
Arkansas
had.
suing him? Just fill me in.
Because
I
of-
have not paid any attention to this.
Nico's brother left after Nico from Arkansas
Oh.
and went to UCLA, and he had just collected like a $2 million NIL.
So I mean, this
And-
is the sad part about this, Nikki. But these lawsuits, they've got to happen.
That's what I think.
Absolutely,
if a
they've got to
player
happen.
can turn
That's the
around-
only way we sort this out.
If a player can turn around and sue a school, now I know they're being thrown out because they don't actually have legs to ground on, these players, because no contracts were signed at that point. But if they can even try, a school 100% should turn around and be able to sue a player for money that they took but never played. But then that's where you have
that's where we're headed, because these NIL deals
that's where you have
are made by people who want that player to be at a specific school.
And now we have, what is it, Bryce Underwood from Michigan. He wants out of Michigan, and that lady paid him like $8 million or something to come there. I'm like, oh, this is going to be I can't wait to watch that unfold.
So help me out, Bob. I did not read the article that you shared. I did like it, but I have not actually had time to click on it yet and read it. Who is the new commissioner of college football?
The Pete Thamel of ESPN is saying that guy is already picked, but they haven't said who he was. But he did say he'll hail outside from, and this is, I'm quoting Pete Thamel, is the expectation is the CEO will likely hail from outside the college athletics universe and is expected to be a household name to college sports fans. The CEO will earn a 7-figure salary.
So he's pretty much saying Nick Saban, because he's not inside college football anymore, and he's a household name.
Yeah, it's Nick. It's got to be Nick, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
we manifest this shit before even the season started. We said that Nick needed to be the commissioner.
We did. We did it before anybody else. And if you fucking think you did it before us, fuck you.
You did.
We did it first, and we'll prove
all
it
these
in a
people
court of
were
law.
watching Smacking Off, every one of them.
Yep, and we were smacking off while we were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now the Saban position with Trump. So I think it's independent of that. I think it's something different. But he's the co-chair of the commission, though, on college sports. So the new commission, we do know at the very least that appointed by Donald Trump, that Nick Saban is at the very least. So going into the commission to run the board and decide this thing, the co-chair of it was Nick Saban, right? So now that the commission has been formed, then it's between him and Texas Tech University board chair Cody Campbell.
It's Nick Saban.
Yeah, then that's reporting from the Crimson White, serving the University of Alabama since 1894. The sports editor Samuel Prestipino. That's on May 9th, 2025. So, and also according to Yahoo Sports and The Athletic. So that's who I'm going to cite for that information.
So here's my thing on that. Who does everyone hate the most but also respects the most?
Oh, Saban.
Nick Saban.
Yeah, Saban's been on every end of it. Now, would you agree, Doug, that Saban has been every kind of college football coach, and the way that he went to the pros and left, the way he left LSU, but he came back and was stable with Alabama. So he's been on every spectrum. One of the things that makes him the person you want is, as a coach, he has also played the game to the hilt, and he understands the game. So I think he's probably the most. If he's not the smartest guy in college football, he's definitely the most thoughtful. Wouldn't you agree, Doug?
I agree.
And I think his stint in the NFL also puts him in that category. He knows how the NFL is ran. And that's pretty much the way college football is getting ready to be ran. I mean, that's what we're seeing on a daily basis.
I think he gets a bad rap he gets a bad rap for his NFL stint. Him and the owner didn't see eye to eye. He wanted, was it Drew Brees?
Yeah,
when
what
he
you
was
what?
in Miami, and the owner and the higher ups wouldn't grab. They didn't grab him.
Well, I
So
remember it because Miami newspapers said that Drew Brees was too small. They wanted a big quarterback.
yeah, I mean that was fucking stupid. And so basically, they cut his balls off right out of the gate, and he just said, "Fuck it, I'm not dealing with this." You know, the college game's a lot different than the pro game, and he figured it out right there. He did not want to coach pro anymore. Every time that his name came up for a pro job, I just laughed about it because I knew he wasn't doing it.
And I feel like that's why he also retired, is because college football is turning
Was
into
becoming like
exactly
pro
what he
football.
walked away from. He walked
Exactly.
away from that. I don't want to deal with the bullshit. I want college. And at that point, it was the blood, the sweat. You bled for your team. And then that changed. All of a sudden, it didn't matter anymore. Who you played for, it was who was going to find you the most money.
He said that he just got sick of the whole recruiting thing, and then at the same time, at the end of every season, he had to recruit his own fucking players again.
That's crazy, man.
It is.
And that's why different coaches and new coaches are coming into college basketball. You may not have some of the older coaches may not have had the energy for that, or they relied on boosters for that kind of thing. And now somebody with that you have to re-recruit your team at the end of every season. Somebody with more energy like Pope at Kentucky uh, can out recruit other people and work on retention. And so for now, I'm glad that Divine is here to get into the conversation. How you doing, Mr. Divine?
I'm doing well. How are we doing?
But Sean, how long have you been here?
Oh, probably 6 or 7 minutes.
It's got to be Dr. Balls' fault.
I just seen him come up. As soon as I seen him come up, I tried to introduce
I never
him.
heard. It usually alerts me on audio, and I didn't hear it.
That's all right. I mean, I walked into Nikki was talking about NIL, and I go, "Oh, we're still on this, huh?"
You were listening as a
Always.
fan, or you were listening as a fan, Sean.
I was, and I said, "Didn't we just talk extensively last week about NIL?"
Well, we got a new wrinkle, Sean. You're right,
But
Sean.
this
We have a
is-
new wrinkle. The new wrinkle is that the
commissioner.
settlement. Yeah, the settlement has already been settled. They just haven't released it yet. And the appointment of a college football CEO and a governing board is imminent based on the findings of the survey. And
I heard that portion of your guys' talk as well. You think it's going to be Nick Saban versus that guy from Tech, which is fine.
Don't you love that guy? That's why it would be Nick Saban, because everyone would be like, "Who's that guy?"
Now, hold on now. Sean may have a reason that it's going to be the other guy.
No. But I did have a snarky remark regarding Bob's source that he cited. It's like, as reported by the Tuscaloosa Times and the Big Al Gazette. Nick Saban is like, okay, that's not quite sure if Next thing, Nick Saban's been named, the head of NATO from, the Tuscaloosa Times and the Birmingham.
Oh, I just read that. I just read that.
I think Nick would do a good job at NATO, Sean.
He probably would, but I'm just saying, it's until it's a done deal.
He's also helping Elon.
Yeah, he's doing everything. Nick Saban's, maybe he's going to be the next pope. Oh, we already got one of those.
While renting his house on B&B.
Well, hold on now. Trump put a post out and trolling the left and said that he was going to be the new pope.
He did it at a news conference. He was walking. He was walking towards Marine One on the lawn there at the White House, and the press corps was there, asking him questions. And somebody asked him from the scrum, "Who do you think, Mr. President? Who do you think will be the next pope?" And it was great. He goes, "I think I'd make a great pope." But he was joking. And then he goes,
"You gotta love Don. I mean, even if you hate Don, you still gotta love Don."
I thought that was great. And then he goes, "They're in the conclave. They'll figure it out, and we'll see who it is in a few days or weeks." And then he got on the helicopter. But
I know we have a new pope, and I know he's from the United States, but I do not know the name.
He's from Chicago.
His pope name or his real name?
Well, I know his pope name is Leo.
Yeah, Leo the 14th. But it's Robert Prevost is his U.S. government name, I guess.
Had you ever heard of him before this?
Briefly, I think when he was either a bishop or cardinal in the Chicagoland area. Yeah. And then a friend of mine from back home, he's got ties to St. Rita, which is a church in high school that's a kind of a powerhouse in Chicago. So, but did I think he was going to be? No, I didn't think
No,
I'd ever see.
I mean
I
that's
didn't
like
think
a
I'd ever
lottery.
see an
It's like a
American
lottery.
pope in my
It's like a
life.
lottery, isn't it,
I
Bob?
didn't think I'd see it either.
I mean, so
Maybe they really want the Bears to win a Super Bowl again.
well, so Chicago gets a pope, and then super fan George Wendt passes away today, who created the Bears, super fan on
You
Saturday
talking
Night
about
Live.
Norm?
It's Norm, yeah, and so it seems like they are on a mission from God to hopefully get the Bears at least relevant again.
They have
Anybody
angels in
who
the
has not
outfield.
seen this, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out for Norm. And what's his real name, Sean?
George Wendt,
George Wendt. You got to
also a
watch.
Chicago guy, by the way. He's from Chicago as well.
All right, so he was in a movie with Keaton.
He was in
Michael
on Cheers.
Gung Ho.
Gun ho, he says.
You got to go watch. You got to watch Gung Ho.
Gung Ho, okay.
Yeah,
I'll
and
put
he's
it
got a
on
small part in it, but it's a powerful small part.
I'm gonna
Is
check
he
it
a,
out.
Cheers.
is he a Marine in that movie?
No, he's just a worker at the auto plant that is going down. Except there's a Japanese company coming over to take it over.
My
That's
goodness.
what movie's about.
So all we can say is Chicago's have not angels in the outfield, but they have angels in the end zone this year for them.
There you go. Absolutely.
Which they
Well,
probably
we'll see. We'll see if it pays off. Probably.
yeah, they definitely did.
Because that's the third. No, I think that's okay. So Went passed away. He's from Chicago. Virginia McCaskey, the matriarch who owned the Bears, passed away in January. I swear I'm missing somebody else. It'll come
Let's
to me.
look it up. Chicago. We'll do prominent Chicagoans who have died this year.
Cubs are in first place right now. The Bears had a good offseason, good draft, good free agency.
Goodness. And they obviously I love Chicago. I was treated Delaware. And Chicago can be dangerous. You just got to know how to do Chicago. But if you're
Everywhere can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But you just got to know how to do it and be patient. And if you're a working class person, people treated me well, and they love to talk about my accent, but that's what it is because I do have one, right? So
a lot of people from Kentucky I've noticed come up to see the Cubs play. And I think that's because, correct. I think Knoxville has the AA Cubs team, which isn't too. Obviously, people in Tennessee and Kentucky can get down to Knoxville and see the AA Cubs play.
Mhm.
I'm forgetting what their.
There's probably Reds fans too. There's Red fans travel a little. Reds fans do travel, and they.
I got a question, Bob.
What's up?
So if you're driving to Chicago, or you're driving to Okeechobee, which place from where you're at, where are you getting to first?
Oh, Chicago is half as far as Okeechobee.
Absolutely.
So it's 420 miles from door to door from his house to the Sprint switching center that I used to work at in Chicago. It's 420 miles. And the
Bob, where do you get your accent from?
Well, I live here in Kentucky, and then I've spent significant time in North and South Carolina. But I mean, people here in Appalachia have a certain accent.
I mean, you got to admit, though, I mean, people talk like that in Okeechobee as well.
Oh, yeah, but look how many people like me are down there. Just same thing with Chicago and Cleveland and Detroit. So Appalachian people.
The better question for Bob about going to Chicago or Okeechobee is what time of the year is it? If it's July, go to Chicago. If it's January, go to Okeechobee.
That's right. But of course,
well, I mean, there's a whole legion of folks. Bob will tell you. You go down to Okeechobee in the winter, and half the cars down there have New York tags.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Snowbirds.
Snowbirds is what we call them, and I remember my family used to bitch about them all the time, and I remember thinking, you know how much fucking money these people are bringing down here?
I was kind of surprised when I was in South Carolina in April. for the golf tournament, how many Canadian plates I saw.
On
Uh,
95? Were you on
yeah,
I-95? Yeah, so it's ate up with New York, New Jersey, and Canadian plates, especially Ontario, because I make that trip all the time. That's my trip. So the main road closest to me goes south, becomes I-26, and it runs into I-95, and that's how I go to places like Charleston, South Carolina, Florida, whatever it is, and that's undeniable. And they're coming from Florida, man, or they're going to Florida, and they also Charleston, South Carolina's become this blowing up, guys. People love the place.
Charleston is a great city. That is a
Yeah,
that is a gem of the United States.
and it's a great place to live. And there's so many opportunities for people that are fit and physical, in particular for walking, running, exploring. I mean, I love the Low Country, South Carolina, guys. I can't. That's why
That-
I've got kids there. You know,
You're not
honestly, I
kidding.
love.
I could not believe the amount of people I saw out jogging and bicycling and getting in the water at the beach and paddling or trying to surf or et cetera, getting their exercise in. So yeah, no, it's a great city. If you haven't been to Charleston, South Carolina, highly recommend it. But
Absolutely.
I did want to disagree with Doug with just a little bit on something. Now,
Okay.
I absolutely agree with you that Nick Saban wanted Drew Brees as his quarterback at Miami when
Right.
that year's free agency opened. However, it's it once Brees and his wife took the trip to New Orleans post Katrina, they fell in love with it and wanting to rebuild that city.
Are
Uh,
you saying it? Are you saying it wasn't the higher ups that caused this?
No, I don't. It's not so much that it's. I don't. I just don't think it was like a guaranteed done deal that he was going to go to Miami.
No, but
They had.
I've heard the higher ups didn't try. They didn't even try.
I think the higher ups put a little bit of a. It's not so much they didn't try. They had Breeze do a medical. If you recall, he's coming off rotator cuff surgery. That's why San Diego didn't retain his services. He was coming off rotator cuff surgery on his throwing arm, and the word is that he did not pass the physical that the Dolphins gave him. He did pass the physical the Saints gave him, but even more importantly, his wife fell in love with New Orleans and did not love Miami. So
which
you
is
know,
I've been to
understandable.
both places. I can't wrap my brain around that, Sean.
Me
I
neither.
I
But I'm not saying it's not true.
I think the food is better in New Orleans for
I
sure.
Uh,
think it's the
I
people.
agree with
I
that.
think the humidity's better in Miami.
The
I think
humidity
it's
is
the
better in
people.
Miami, sure. But
In Miami, the people are assholes
yeah, I
compared
think
to
people in
New
New
Orleans.
Orleans are a little
Yeah.
friendlier. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with that
Uh,
one. But they're friendly to death to the point where they'll aggravate you. Like, I mean, for me, the last time I went to New Orleans, everywhere I went, there was somebody stepping off the curb wanting to bum a nickel, wanting to know something about me. You know what I'm trying to say? There was just a lot of interactions where I had to be real patient. If I'd been young and hot headed, there's no telling what might have went on. But,
Miami
you
has more of a New York vibe in so much as people just don't give you the time of day. They kind of ignore you. There's a slight
There's a large Jewish population down there,
there's a
and it,
slight
it, it does feel like New York. You're right.
it's a bit standoffish versus New Orleans. The people will engage with you even if you're not from there. And like Bob says, they will ask you 20 questions, and it's like at some point you're like, all right, enough, But at least they're trying to be hospitable and be friendly versus you ask somebody for the time of day in Miami, they just like stare at you funny and keep walking. So
Well, in my defense on this one, I mean, I've always heard the Drew Brees thing, but I don't think that Saban liked the pro game at all.
I
No.
don't think it's not so much they dislike. I think he disliked one. He didn't get Brees, who was who he wanted. He ended up
Yeah,
getting Dante Culpepper, who at that point in Culpepper's career, that was a money grab, and he didn't have the desire or the heart to play anymore. So then Saban was saddled with a quarterback who's, once you get a contract, the management's going to want you to push that guy out there, even if the guy really has no intention of giving it, 100%. And that's how Nick Saban gives everything is 100%. So he didn't
right.
like that. And then number two, being in the same division as Bill Belichick, his sort of NFL mentor and friend, and having to deal with Tom Brady and those Patriot teams, I don't think
But of
was.
course, he knew that going in. Though.
He did know that, but I think if he had gotten Breeze,
He didn't.
he
He
would
didn't get a taste. He didn't get a taste of it, right?
right. Yeah, I mean, if he had gotten Breeze, that would have given him, kind of an arsenal to shoot back with at Belichick with Brady. And when you get a Dante Culpepper, you're up the creek, so to speak. And when you have the opportunity to go to the premier program in college football, which is Alabama, and Miss Terry, I think, wanted to leave Miami and go back to a college campus.
Absolutely. Mal Moore, rest in peace, went down, and he couldn't meet with Nick because Nick wouldn't meet with him, but he met with Miss Terry because Miss Terry was ready to go.
We all
He
know
makes all the
Miss
calls
Terry's
anyway.
influence is very powerful.
Absolutely, and so she told Mal, Nick's going to say all kind of shit because he ain't going to talk any shit while this football season's going on. You won't hear anything. He's not going to. All he's going to say is, "I'm not interested," because that's the way Nick's brain works. And so everybody says that Nick was lying at that point. Miss Terry says he wasn't lying. He wasn't entertaining anything because he won't do it.
I don't think it mattered anyway.
I think he just was so focused on the season at hand.
Absolutely, but
He
she
let
told Mal
Miss
Moore,
Terry handle it.
wait till the season's over and we'll pull this shit together. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she went in and said, "We're going to Alabama. Pack your bags, Nick." And he said,
Yeah.
"Okay, let's go, Miss Terry."
That's what happened.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I think it's it was the right decision because when you're the head coach at a program like Alabama and you run everything, then you get to kind of recruit the players that you want to fit your system, and that's obviously been proven that he's a hell of a recruiter with all the guys that not only played great at Alabama but have gone on to success in the NFL. You don't really get that in the NFL, because you have a general manager and you have an owner that will sometimes step on the coach's toes on draft day. Sorry, Nikki, but you know that from firsthand experience with Jerry Jones.
100%.
And that's why Jimmy Johnson left there after a while. He's like, same happened with Bill Parcells. He goes, if they want you to make the meal, at least they should let you pick the groceries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And certainly Saban was far more advanced than the bozos that were down there in Miami, who are still down there in Miami. The Dolphins haven't won anything since, Don Shula was a young man, and God rest his soul, he's no longer with us. But and then the proof's in the pudding with all the national championships he won at Alabama. So I think it was the right move at the right time, and thank God he's married to Ms. Terry, And
Yep.
she told that funny story of, they went back to their home. They grew up together, which I think is incredible. And Nick says, yeah, that was that guy you used to date. If you married him, you'd be, married to a guy that runs a gas station. She goes, no, if I married him, he'd be the head coach at Alabama. It tells you how attuned to things Miss Terry is. She reads the room very well.
Little Fairfield, West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story, and I hope he does get to become the college football czar. I think he could do great things and get some order into this chaotic landscape we're in right now.
Now,
And that's all you can call it, chaos.
Let's talk about some college baseball gamesmanship, Sean, since you brought it up in the chat.
Yeah, I first off, let's start with the rule. I don't like the rule. And the rule in SEC conference play on a Sunday getaway day, you can't start an inning after 4:30 local time. So whether you're in the Eastern time zone or the Central time zone, and then in that actual, Kentucky obviously was delaying when the clock read 4:28. They could have had a batter get in there, and instead the pitcher who was out there doing warm up didn't throw the ball. He's entitled to his however many warm-up pitches. I don't know the exact number, but it delayed long enough for finally when the batter got in the box, the clock just turned to 4:30. And that's it. Game's over. And so and all these stadiums have lights, last I checked. So, and their answer is, well, they got to get back for their Monday morning class. Well, we do have planes in this day and age, last I checked.
And this has happened a few times this season alone.
Well,
So
And
if
I
you're a
think that's
homer,
yeah,
Kentucky's only series win in SEC play this year.
yeah.
So something smells fishy in London.
no, if yes, that's absolutely homerism. I mean, as a homer, I'm just going to say that if you're a homer, you love it that they did everything they could to win that game. But the truth of it is, just like Cincinnati versus Kentucky, and I think 1985, where there was like 20 points scored in the second half, by both teams. Anyway, these things can lead to rule changes that are better for the game. And it makes me think of Little League Baseball, Sean, where they want to. So if you're in the real Little League Baseball, you can slide head first, you can steal whenever you had the opportunity, on and on. And 6 innings meant 6 innings. But there's some crazy stuff they play over in Lexington that they call Little League Baseball that is just insane, and it's not related to any kind of Billy Martin baseball you can imagine, which means it's bullshit,
I
right? But
remember
anyway,
I remember that. I got called out in Little League. I'm at third base. My teammate hits easily a extra base hit into the gap, rolls
Mercy.
to the fence, and I run down third base line, touch home, go to the dugout, and the guy calls me out, and I go, "Why am I out?" Because you didn't slide into home plate. I said there was no play at the plate. Why would I slide if I can? The catcher wasn't even there. Like he's not getting the ball. Well, the rule in Little, you got to slide for safety's sake. I said that.
That's ridiculous.
Why would I?
that's
There's
it.
no play at the plate. I jogged through, touched it with my foot, and kept jogging to the dugout.
They
And
just
so we
don't
ended up going to extra
don't
innings,
ice it
which we
in
won in
time.
extra innings. But you go, why? To me, that seems less than safe. Why would you force somebody to slide for no reason?
And that's exactly when Sean figured out the world was trying to pull one over on him.
That's yeah, exactly.
You know something? Now, my local area here, especially my high school and also Ashland, Boyd County and Ashland, are baseball powerhouses. And when I seen the kind of baseball they were playing in Lexington, it was really limiting them guys. And here, it still is pretty much major league rules. You can take out the catcher. I mean, and all that stuff like that. I don't think it helps them. We constantly are sending guys to the pros here from this little tiny area in Appalachia. Like, who's the last one that won the Cy Young from here? Brandon Webb, right?
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah. What? He's with the Giants. That's Nikki's team.
yeah. So I mean, we put out Cy Young winners, amazing amounts of utility baseball players, and all because of what I call take no prisoners baseball, and it starts in minor league baseball
I
where
agree.
you're where and they so that kind of rules change is important also for recruiting all the way down the line in college baseball, where they come from, the club teams, what rules did they have, and if I'm a scout, I'm seeing all this stuff in the pros, and I'm seeing the gamesmanship that's happening here as well, and how players respond, and it's part of how I think about them when it's time to start signing them guys or recruit
I
them.
I will tell you this though, to get to bring this matter to a bow, and maybe Nikki disagrees with me, but like for me, I watch more Major League Baseball than I do college. I still watch a decent amount, but I watch more Major League Baseball. And the one thing that I'm noticing is it's please college baseball at the highest level, maybe at the D2 or 3, I don't necessarily know or care, but at the highest level, like get the pitch clock like MLB has. These games are taking
Yes, I
way
agree.
too damn long. Like
I agree.
there was a game,
100.
it was like 5.5 hours. Like they started like at noonish, and I'm still watching this game. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. If this is MLB, this game's over by now. Like,
Well, like today, SEC tournament, they moved the game after Florida, South Carolina to tomorrow morning because the game went so long.
yeah,
They
come
couldn't
on.
even play after, and so I know I agree 100%. We probably watched more MLB than I watched my Gators, when they're on. Other than that, in Tarleton, of course, but I watch a lot more MLB. Like I was just excited. James pointed out I haven't watched the Yankees this year, And he's like, "Do you notice something?" And I'm like, "What?" The dude threw a really crazy sidearm pitch. I was like, "Sidearm?" He was like, "No, he has facial hair. The Yankees have
Yeah,
facial
the
hair."
Yankees finally said it's okay to have facial hair. You know,
And
they
I
got
was
with.
just like, "Okay, that made me." But we watched so much. I mean, right now I got hockey on. He's flipping back
So,
and forth, but
I mean,
I
Sean,
other
watched so
Sean, I
much.
know you know something about this movie. I know you've seen Major League.
of course.
Who was the pitcher that kept giving the Indians problems? And it was Bob Euchre that said when he sneezed, he looked like a party favor.
Yeah. The guy for the Yankees that. Uh, what's the line he's other than the other line he had from his? Oh, this guy once threw his own kid in a father-son game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great fucking movie. The second one's not so great, but the first one's great.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. The first one is one of the legendary baseball movies. Got to be in at least your top five. You know,
Absolutely.
but
But
no,
that right there
SEC.
shows the time is changing with all sports. That the Yankees, after forever not allowing any facial hair, it has to be clean. Which their pitcher right now does not have a clean beard, so it really doesn't have to be clean. But they're changing with the times, and it makes me sad now because I watched Johnny go to the Yankees, and he was Jesus. He had his long hair and his beard. And it was gone, and I'm like, this sucks.
Well, that was like
Well,
when they had Randy Johnson for a couple of years, and he had no mustache and short hair. And I
Mhm.
go, something doesn't look right about Randy Johnson right now.
He didn't.
No.
He wasn't Randy Johnson.
Yeah, he had lost his powers because he didn't have that long
Yes.
hair in the back and his big handlebar mustache. You know.
So if you're
And so
Wally Fingers and you had to go to, if you were Wally Fingers and you had to go to the Yankees, even if they gave you a bigger contract, all the other contracts you were getting for shaving products and stuff would make you want to go somewhere else, wouldn't it?
yeah,
I mean, he'd have to lose that unique mustache of his. You know, and
yeah.
he
Yeah,
wouldn't be Raleigh Fingers then. You know.
well, while we're talking about the Yankees, got to go ahead and mention this one. This is a very underrated baseball movie. The Babe with John Goodman.
That's a
I
very
love
good
that
movie.
movie.
Very good movie. And
That is not
they picked
underrated.
an
That is.
appropriate individual
Oh,
to play the Babe too.
yeah.
Absolutely, he was a little taller, I think, than Babe Ruth, but there was I've watched footage of Babe Ruth and then John Goodman from the movie. He definitely got the body language down.
And
But no,
42.
the college baseball tournaments are starting up, and 42 is great. Yeah, 42 is great. But the college baseball tournaments are on, and I would expect SEC should at least get what 9, maybe 10 teams. We thinking or more? They might get more.
good.
It depends on.
They could get more. We actually could have quite a few hosting. Florida won today. They're saying that if we win one more in Hoover, that we should be hosting. Now, this is a team that started SEC play 0-11.
So
That
Sean, you
no
said
one gave
10.
a chance.
I think
Damn.
10 for sure, but it could be more if there's upsets in the tournament.
All right, so let's name the 10 that you think.
We'd start with Texas for sure.
Texas,
God damn
Um,
it, Texas right into the fucking
LSU,
league.
LSU, yep. Tennessee, Florida,
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yep. Texas A&M, I think will get in.
They're on the iffy. It depends
They're-
on how far they go in Hoover.
Yeah, yeah. Auburn for sure.
Auburn,
I think Alabama's
Georgia.
in. Georgia, yep.
Bama is
And then
in,
do we put
Georgia's in.
Vandy in the Vandy?
Vandy's in.
Vandy's in.
They are
So,
in.
yeah, I mean that's. We'd be quicker just naming the teams we don't. So Kentucky, sorry Bob, I don't think they're getting in.
No.
No.
A&M
God damn it,
on the
Bob.
cusp.
A&M's
So
on the
look,
cusp.
Mississippi State's a no.
Mississippi State surprisingly is a no.
I
Yeah.
know. That one.
That one kind of.
Swanee's a no.
I don't think
Georgia
But how
Tech.
got
about
it.
A&M being on the cusp of starting the season at number 1?
Yeah.
Only
that's,
team ever that's had this happen.
Did the
What
last
happened?
Sunday?
What happened, Nick? Tell us about it, Nikki.
They started the season 1, and now there's a chance they don't even get to go to regionals.
Did you say Georgia Tech?
No, I said A&M.
Georgia
sorry.
Tech will get in from the ACC.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech won the ACC championship.
So you said
Well,
Texas
the
A&M
regular
started
the
Regular
regular
season.
number one.
Yeah.
Regular season.
So
I like
Texas
regular
A&M
season.
started number one.
Texas A&M started the season number 1, and they're the only team ever to be on the cusp to not
Yeah,
make
fuck them. I hate them
regional.
across all boundaries, all sports. I hate every fucking thing.
Yeah.
Really? A&M's that high on your hate list, Doug? I didn't know that.
I hate them. I don't know why. I always have. Ever since I was young. Sorry, I was a teen, and in 1988, Alabama and Texas A&M was supposed to play in the regular season, and there was Hurricane Gilbert was headed into Texas, and Bill Curry would not put his team on the plane. They said we're not flying in. They say we can get in, but we may not be able to get out.
Yeah, that's safe. That's smart. That's safe.
Right.
You got to be safe.
Well, so
with
Jackie
hurricanes.
Sherrill goes on TV and basically says Alabama is avoiding us because they know that if we make this game up, it'll be the bowl invitations will already be put out. Well, anyway, so Alabama plays their season. They lose to Auburn in the next to the last season game because we have to go to A&M to finish the season out. And Alabama goes over there and whoops their fucking ass. And I love that shit because
I
that
love
was
grudges that last that long.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it started with Jackie Sherrill, and it just every time I turn around, they reconfirm my hate. So
So I'd say that 6 SEC teams will probably host in the regional round, and I'd say my guess is Texas, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Georgia, and Auburn, with LSU and Florida also possible.
They
Yeah.
said, well, Bama's also a possibility as well. From how it's because of their wins and their schedule, they actually could host it's kind of like between Florida and Bama right now for that last regional position in the SEC.
God damn it, Nikki.
Yeah.
Now we're
Sorry.
going at each other.
And we
You know what?
we just took the series from y'all and then turn around. Yeah.
I'm giving it to Florida. I don't give a fuck.
You
if
never
Alabama
count
gets in
them
or
out
not.
in baseball. I've been saying it all season. I've heard so much shit. Florida sucks this year. Don't count us out. Y'all should know this with Sully by now. Like, you
So
should know
I
this.
seen Bama play Texas in the World Series when I was a kid. I mean, I was a young teenager, and Bama blew it. So that's my
Bama
only
has a good
experience.
team. They just kind of let off the heat late in the season when you can't. And that's when Florida always picks up they start getting hot.
It's a long
hate
season. It really is. I mean,
it is.
How did Notre Dame do, Sean?
not great in the ACC. They would need.
They did a little better than Kentucky, didn't they?
Yeah, but you're it's razor's edge as far as that's concerned.
It's a
No,
tie.
they haven't been the same since they lost Jarrett to going back to his alma mater, at Florida State. That was a
Go for it.
that was a big blow to the program, and I don't blame him. He wants to go back to his alma mater, and also the weather at Tallahassee is a lot more conducive for college baseball than South Bend is. When the season starts in February, and you still got snow blowers and snow plows in South Bend, and Tallahassee really don't. So
we'll definitely revisit this, but let's go ahead and before we even get the tournament started, let's get everybody and I'm not giving one because I pay no attention to college baseball whatsoever, but the people paying attention, let's get your favorites to win this whole thing.
The SEC?
Yeah, let's just how about this?
For the national championship.
Your top three candidates to win this whole. No, not the SEC. Sorry, we're going. Now are we going into the SEC tournament now?
It
just started.
It started today.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yeah, it's a little premature to talk about Omaha, right?
I say LSU takes the SEC tournament,
Okay.
and I hate to say it, but I do think they're hot right now.
All right. What's another tournament that we're looking at, Sean? I know Sean knows one.
I'm watching the Big Ten. You have
Hmm.
co-champions in Oregon and UCLA. Um,
Oregon
Oregon,
State's played
man, when
pretty well.
when Oregon plays the way they can play, like at their best, they're almost unbeatable. And then at other times they don't, and they look very very mortal. Um, but I have Oregon winning the Big Ten. Um, no disrespect to UCLA, they got a really good team as well. But I just think Oregon's when they play to their best potential, I think they'll win the Big Ten. The
Big 12
ACC,
stacked.
the Big 12 is that I don't think I will say I my one prediction for the Big 12 tournament is that regular season champ West Virginia will not win the tournament. That
I
is my
don't think they want to. I think they're kind of doing what most SEC schools do is they try to get those first two games, maybe three
and then pack
wins.
it in and
They're
and
done. They're not going to put their top pitchers back in because they're going to be on 3 days rest. So
yeah,
they just put them.
and the worst thing that can happen in these conference tournaments for the teams that already know they're going to be in the college baseball playoffs is to lose a guy, particularly a pitcher, to injury. Not so. I mean, position players certainly hurt as well, but if you lose pitch, like the pitching
You're
is
done.
what it's everything. Yeah,
And that's why I look at regular season champs more than I look at that tournament champ because honestly, too many of these teams show up, they want to win one or two, maybe three. There's only a few that's going to actually fight to the end because
and
they
those are
have
going to
to
be those
win
teams
to
that
get in.
have to. They gotta
They
win to get
have
in.
to. Like the
Yeah,
A&Ms, those teams, other than that, they're going to play those first few games, use their good pitchers, maybe second, third rotation, not even starters, in case they do make it to the championship game by, you know, some weird act.
I
And then they set them.
I think
We've
in
seen it
the
with
Big 12. I think in the Big 12, even though I think they're in already, but I think TCU is going to win the Big 12 baseball
I
tournament.
I think they are in, but I do think that it was between them and West Virginia this season pretty much all year anyway. So yeah, I definitely
If TCU wins that tournament, they might put themselves in position to maybe host. Maybe.
well I would like that because then we could go up and watch.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. Yeah. I mean, but I do think being, they finished third in the regular season in the conference. Their
Hmm.
overall is 37-17. So they're definitely in the field. It's just
Hmm.
if you win the tournament, you're less likely to have to go to like, say Eugene or, maybe Gainesville or wherever. So
Well, please don't say that. I can't handle. I've had to deal with shit. We always have to end up being
okay,
TC in Florida, meet up in Omaha.
Athens then. I'll say Athens then.
So here's the
God.
most important question, Sean.
Yes.
Who's winning the Pac-2?
Oh, easily Oregon State. Oregon State's a baseball power. So Oregon State will
Uh,
be,
Always good.
they,
yeah.
they don't have a tournament, right?
No, no, not yet. Not
Yeah, they
until,
just play each other for 6 games.
yeah, they just keep playing each other. They're going to play a best of 15 game series.
So, so I know you remember this, Sean. Is it the Mountain West that has basically been absorbed by the Pac-2?
Yes, yeah. Well,
So what do
they
we? Go ahead.
what they take 5 or 6 of their teams.
Okay, so what are we back to the Pac-8 now?
It'll be the Pac-8 for every sport except football. And the reason for that is so you have Oregon State and Washington State. They took 5 programs from the Mountain West. Their 8th program is Gonzaga, but Gonzaga doesn't have football. So they still need to find an 8th football playing member, which they're still apparently the last time I checked on their website, they're still vying candidates for that.
They're going through applications that they haven't
Yeah.
received.
To me, I'd say bump up North Dakota State from FCS. Make them the you
So
know.
did they accept? Is Hawaii in?
I don't think Hawaii's one of them. Let me pull it up here
I
real
guess
quick.
they don't want that burden on their members to have to travel there every other year, right?
Yeah, it's uh let's see here. So Gonzaga, it's
Fresno State,
Fresno State,
San Diego State.
Hmm.
San Diego State, Utah State, Colorado State, and Boise State. So and then Gonzaga, but they don't play football. So to me, the one that kind of surprises me that would make sense would be um, with Fresno State being in there and San Diego State. A natural rival to both that's in there is San Jose State, um, because San
Yeah,
Diego
why?
State and
Oh,
Fresno State are rivals to San Jose State.
And
what
then
about
you're really,
why?
honestly, you're boosting up some baseball. Those teams right there.
Yeah, what league is Wyoming in?
Mm.
But they're staying in the Mountain West. They did not take the they turned it down along with uh,
Montana
oh, Air Force.
Hmm.
Air
They
Force.
invited Air Force, and Air Force said no.
I
Wyoming and
think
Air
I
Force
think
said
the thought is that this is really not going to be the pack. It's not going to be the pack that everybody remembered, and it's
to,
going to be a group of five conference, right?
to me, they should have just taken all of the Mountain West, added Washington State and Oregon State, and then changed the name back to Pac whatever. Like and be done with it. And
Still
That
be
would
one
be,
conference.
but
and
then
to your point, Doug. Yeah, no, it would still be like to the level of a group of what five, group of four, or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. But it would be good in basketball and baseball for sure.
that's what I was saying. Baseball, that you got Fresno State always has a good team.
San Jose
I mean,
State
they should have
usually
brought in
has.
Eastern Washington just for the red field, dude.
I'd grab them, and
I
I'd
mean, you've
grab
already
like
got Boise. You've got the blue field with Boise, and then you bring in Washington. Eastern Washington for the red field.
I'd grab them, and then as Bob said, I'd elevate Montana and Montana State from FCS,
Yep.
and so then you're dominating that little pocket of the country. The Pacific Northwest and kind of Great West. You'd have
You know,
Idaho.
it took me 5 seasons to do it, Sean. But back when I used to frequent my Xbox, the original Xbox, not the 360,
Sure,
I won the national championship. It took me 5 seasons to do it with Montana.
love it. Hey, there we
It was
go.
it was fun, but it took a lot. I realized real quick that I wasn't going to do it without paying close attention to the recruiting process on there.
Yes, yeah,
Following in
yeah.
Saban's footsteps.
lot of in-home visits, a lot of
Yeah, I mean, I
guaranteed
tried to do it.
starting.
I said, "Fuck that recruiting. I'm gonna take what I got." And no, I couldn't win.
Now, on PlayStation 2 on NCAA 2006, I've run the Marshall, what do you call it when you get like 30 Dynasty, the Marshall Dynasty twice. And each time I won three. I had to win 3 consecutive New Year's Days bowl before they finally let me in the BCS championship. And then it was on the fourth season.
Did you win it, Bob?
Oh, yeah, because by then I had recruited beyond belief. By the time I got to my fourth season with Marshall on it, and every time this has happened, I'd win the national championship and get invited to a conference. So on the first time I ran that dynasty, they kicked Mississippi State out of the SEC, and I replaced them. I swear it's true. And then, and then, and then in the second dynasty, they sent me to the ACC, and they kicked North Carolina out of the conference. Not North Carolina.
This is how we
Dude,
should
my bad.
run
Both
Dude.
of
college
which are
football.
original members of their respective conferences, by the
Yeah,
way.
but
Oh, I
this
know
is
it's
how we
insane.
should run college football, the same as Xbox. You know, you
Well,
win, we get to vote someone off the island and bring in Marshall.
to me, I mean, that would be, and it's for those of us that are soccer fans for leagues not in the United States because MLS doesn't do it, but like most of those leagues have relegation. So like if you're in the bottom four that year, you fall out of that league and drop to a lower tiered league, and the top four in that league move up to your league, and and you know, uh, we talk about like before they got decent again. Vanderbilt was what they'd win maybe 2 games a year for a long time, and you'd
Yeah.
go, well, if there was you'd move Boise State up, and you drop Vandy, and then Vandy could go play in the Mountain West and possibly dominate it.
Win three.
Yeah.
They could win 3 games.
All right,
Or
so
whatever.
real quick, how long will these conference tournaments last?
Should be done by what, next Monday, Tuesday?
Yeah, it's next.
All right,
Depending
so
on
Yeah.
the weather, and then again, as Nikki mentioned, if games
Oh,
go
we
too
can have
long and
a
you can't
selection
start,
show.
So
yeah,
play it by ear, and next show we'll get to talk about the about Omaha, right?
yeah, and
Yeah,
then we
and
should have.
we should be able to talk about softball because softball this weekend is super regionals.
When
All
is
right.
So we should
Yeah.
after this weekend have who's going
when is
for.
All right.
the baseball, for lack of a better term, like field selection show a la March Madness? Do you have a
Monday.
date on that? Monday? Yeah, yeah. So
It's,
by
it's
next
either
Tuesday.
Sunday night or Monday. But I
Yeah,
think that's tentative to decide on which day the championship
So
games land
this
on.
happens before the tournaments are over.
Yeah, they do a same as like March Madness. The regionals are they announce what teams are going to each region. So if Gainesville will be a region, if they win a few games in Hoover, they'll announce what teams will be going to Gainesville, Tuscaloosa, all of that.
All
So we
right.
yeah.
find out.
All right. So
We should
that's
be
what
able
we're
to
looking
talk
forward to
about.
for next week, right?
We should be able to talk about that next week.
And some
Um,
some hockey.
Like I say, we're getting down to it. We're in the final four for both hockey and the
All right.
NBA,
We'll start our new hockeyology segment next week, right?
and
And I don't know what Florida's on right now. I'm pretty sure they're on crack. They're just destroying everyone.
yeah, the Panthers look good.
They have Bernsey and Stahl on the ice together, and they can't do anything against them. Come on.
um, and then lead up to we're gonna have a showdown at the Belmont after this past week's Preakness, which was great.
Yeah.
And then Scotty Scheffler won the PGA, so
Yes.
we've had a busy spring of non-football to at least keep us entertained. And I saw a couple days ago we are now we're below it. We were at 100 days until college kickoff, and I think 105 until NFL kickoff. So
And the
we're getting
Mavs
there.
got the lotto pick. We're getting Cooper Flag. Just let you
We're
know.
we're going to talk about how that was rigged.
Never. It wasn't. No one
Like
told
for
us that
example,
Nico.
after LeBron decided not to go back to Cleveland, magically that next year got the #1 pick overall.
And I'm kind of pissed. If it was rigged to let Nico keep his job, like that pisses me off. We wanted him gone. Like we don't want Nico.
What was the other? San Antonio getting the one so they could get Victor Wembanyama. What was the other one they talked about? Oh, when the NBA wouldn't let New Orleans trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers, but eventually,
Yeah.
they couldn't resign him, so then he ended up getting to the Lakers. But then the next year they gave him the #1 pick so they could get Zion Williamson. So, and then Bob will remember this going way, way back, the frozen envelope to help the New York Knicks get Patrick Ewing.
Oh yeah,
They just need
that's
to
crazy.
do it like hockey does now on TV. They have a lottery ball. They put the balls in there, and you watch who the balls get spit out, and each team gets knocked off by the numbers.
But he just reaches in the box and he finds the cold envelope and comes out with it. See?
Yep.
See, that's what
I
they
mean,
just got to do it like hockey. It was definitely not rigged for the Islanders to get the #1 lottery pick.
They say this lottery is supposed to prevent tanking, but it really doesn't. And so to me, it should just be like baseball and football, where the worst team gets the first pick and on and on and on down the line.
Well, that's what they were hoping for. Like in hockey, that's kind of how it leads up. Like the way the numbers work. San Jose should have had the number 1 pick if the numbers would have lined up. But
All right, so
I did find it funny, real quick. I did find it funny that in the NBA, the Washington Wizards tanked all year, and so they could do no worse than the 6th pick with the lottery, and that's exactly what they got was the 6th pick. And you go, well, maybe that was the NBA's way of rigging it so they tell that team stop intentionally trying to tank.
yeah,
Because when you do that, we're going to give you the worst pick that you are able to possibly get. Because they had the greatest chance to get the number 1 pick, and they could do no worse than 6th. And what they got? They got 6th. So,
all right,
That's
so good night, guys.
later,
good
y'all.
night.
Next week.
See you next
See ya.
week.
Smacking off the podcast. Fuck your city, our boss. Because sports authorities.
Thank you for supporting Smacking Off the Podcast. Make sure to stream in every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for an all-new live cast.